You know when you really want to lose weight, but you're feeling fat, you're feeling depressed, you're feeling defeated, you're feeling like giving up, but you haven't given up yet. And all you want to do is eat more food to try to feel better because you're feeling so fat and depressed and defeated, which I understand because I've been there before myself. Welcome back to the JoLynn Braley Show. Today is episode number 353. The topic, when you're feeling fat, don't do this. And I'm going to tell you what this is. Hello. Welcome back to the JoLynn Braley Show. This is JoLynn Braley, permanent weight loss coach, founder of the Inner Self Diet, the diet that is required for your mind if you really want to finally succeed with this whole game of weight loss. Why would you want to address your mind, though? Don't you only need another food diet? Isn't it just about counting calories? Isn't it only about energy in, energy out? Well, if it were only about what you're eating, how much you're exercising, if it were only about a food diet, if all you needed was the right information about nutrition, then why are you still struggling to get the weight off and keep it off? Because you already know what you need to do to lose weight. Does it make any sense that you might possibly have a mindset problem because you already know what you should be doing to lose weight and keep it off, but you keep sabotaging yourself, you keep emotionally eating, you keep binge eating, you keep obsessing about food, you keep getting in your own way? Does this make any sense, even a little bit? Well, today, what we're going to do is I'm going to share with you what you shouldn't be doing. Don't do this one thing when you're feeling fat. But first, if you want to learn a little bit more about making weight loss struggle-free, making it easy, which is only going to happen if you get the right mindset. Mindset is 92.8% of this whole game of winning with your weight. If you want to get my free download, head on over to www.easyfunweightloss.com, www.easyfunweightloss.com. You can download my freebie, learn a little bit more about making weight loss easier for yourself. And then at the end of this podcast, I'll also share with you if you'd actually like to get this done as fast as possible, get it done in 8 weeks or less. And when I say get it done, what I mean is getting to that place where you are no longer sabotaging yourself. You're no longer struggling to live a healthy lifestyle. You're doing everything that you need to do to get the weight off and keep it off, and it's no big deal. If you want to get to that place as fast as possible, and you want my help to do it, I'll tell you at the end of this podcast what your first step is. But right now, let's talk about this topic of if you're feeling fat, don't do this. All right? Because here's the thing. If you do this, which I'm going to tell you what this is, you're never going to get to your goal weight. You're never going to look your best in your jeans. You're never going to get to that ultimate goal that you've had for how many years? How many years have you been struggling with this problem? How old were you when you first started having these problems with overeating, eating the wrong kinds of foods, eating too much of whatever it is that you have a problem with, eating too much sugar, eating too much fast food, too many pints of ice cream, whatever it is, right? Bags of potato chips. How old were you when you first started having any kind of struggle with food and your weight? And you might not have even been overweight back then. What were you, 10, 12, 7? I remember I was just 7 years old when I started thinking I was fat, and I wasn't fat. I wasn't overweight at all, but I got it in my head that I was. I wasn't. And I still wasn't overweight for many, many years past that. But when you start thinking like that, that's where your problems start. So, how young were you when you first started struggling with food and your weight? Take that age, subtract it from your current age, and that's going to tell you how old this problem is. How old is this problem for you? Is it 30 years old? Is it 40 years old? Is it 50 or more years old? And this is why you still haven't succeeded. This is part of the reason also, because it's an old problem, and a food diet isn't enough to fix it. If a food diet were enough to fix it, why would you be listening to me talking right now, right? You know what I mean? You know what I mean, Jean? Why would you even need to listen to me talking on this podcast if you had already solved your overeating and your overweight problems on your own? So does it make sense that a food diet isn't enough? Okay, you got to address the root of the problem. So we're not going to be able to do that here in this one podcast today, and you really need to have personal coaching where you are able to talk in real time with your coach to get to the bottom of these issues, and you need to have homework to do. You've got to work through what is in your way. And when you have a proven system that works, and it's worked for everybody else, like the work that I've been doing with coaching clients since 2009, when you have steps to follow, then you really can break free of this problem. But right now, what I'm getting to here is when you're feeling fat, don't do this. And what is this? Don't go eat more food that packs on the pounds to try to feel better because you're feeling so defeated. You're feeling so ashamed that you gained so much weight. You're feeling so depressed. You're feeling defeated before you even get started. So the worst thing that you can do, well, it might not be the very worst thing. The very worst thing you could do would be to totally give up on yourself. But if you had given up on yourself, you wouldn't be listening to me right now. So that's not you. The people who have totally given up on themselves, they don't listen to the JoLynn Braley show. They're just eat whatever, and they just have given up. So that's not you. So the worst thing that you could do is go get more of that food to eat to try to feel better. Whatever that is that you know it's not helping you. You know that it's leading you down the path of gaining even more weight. You know that it's taking you in the opposite direction of where you want to be. Whatever that is, the Chinese food across the street, the takeout, the McDonald's, the pizzas, whatever it is that you have an ongoing problem with, you already know. This isn't a secret. You might try to lie to yourself. You probably do. I'm sure you lie to yourself because that's another part of this whole problem. But if you get really real with yourself, if you get honest with yourself, you know you're not dumb. You know what is going on here. You know that you're eating too much. You know you're eating the wrong kinds of foods that don't work for your body. All right, so it sounds so simple, but it's so critical. And at the same time, it's not simple to do, unfortunately, because this is part of the whole emotional eating problem. And I totally get it. I totally get it because I've had the same problem myself. What you do, what your habit of behavior is you eat more of that food that packs on the pounds. You eat more of it to try to feel better. And maybe for a moment, it does help you feel better. Maybe for 5 minutes or maybe while you're eating it. But then as soon as you're done and you're stuffed, how do you feel? You feel ashamed. You feel defeated again. You're telling yourself that you're a fat slob and you're never going to get the weight off. It's just this ongoing cycle. It's ongoing, ongoing, ongoing. And it will keep going if you keep feeding it. And how do you feed it? Well, you definitely feed it by continuing to eat that stuff that you know isn't helping you. Another way that you continue to feed it, a part of the cycle, is saying really bad stuff to yourself. Telling yourself that you're a fat slob, that nobody finds you attractive, that nobody, your husband isn't attracted to you anymore. All of these different things that you tell yourself. It's all part of this cycle because those negative thoughts make you feel worse. Then what do you want to do? Go eat more of that food that makes you feel better for 5 minutes, maybe. And then you feel worse afterwards because you let yourself down again. So bottom line, really simple, what I'm saying is when you're feeling fat, don't continue the cycle. Don't keep eating more of that stuff that you know is taking you in the opposite direction of where you want to be. All right? But then you say, well, JoLynn, that sounds really simple, but I can't do it. I can't seem to break free. Well, if you're not able to do this, then the easiest and the best and the most powerful way to start with this problem is to address your mind. Start working on your mindset, because if you rewind this podcast just a couple minutes, you'll hear me say this, but I'll also say it again right now. Part of this problem, a big part of it, is the thoughts you think. What you're telling yourself, your negative self-talk, telling yourself that you can't stop eating, you're fat, you're disgusting, you should be ashamed of yourself. All of this stuff that you say to yourself is a huge part of the problem. Now, at the same time, I am not in any way advocating that you should tell yourself things like, oh, everyone should just accept me how I am, and I'm healthy, I'm thriving, I'm on track, when you're really not, when you're 100 pounds or more overweight. How is it going to help you to lie to yourself about your health status? How is that going to help you break free? That's another extreme side of this problem that, well, actually, that's where the people go who have given up. And then they try to justify staying there. All right. Bottom line, it's not healthy for the human body to have extra fat on it. And it's not just a cosmetic problem. If you've got 20, 30, 40 extra pounds on your body so that your butt is too big, your thighs are too big, you've got a big stomach, whatever the issue is with your particular body. If you've got that extra fat on the outside of your body, you've also got it on your internal organs. Okay? Fat does not just hang out on your upper thighs. If you've got it there, then it's also around your internal organs. It's not healthy for the human body to carry around a whole bunch of extra weight. You can do research on this too, if you want to. It's not healthy. It's not how the body is supposed to be. All right? You probably already know this. What I'm saying is that when I say change your mindset and change your negative self-talk, that doesn't mean to take it to that extreme place where you're telling yourself, I'm fine, everything's fine, even though I'm 100 pounds overweight. Everything's fine. Everything is, I'm healthy. My body is thriving. It's not true. Unless your behaviors are matching your words, which isn't what I'm talking about right now. I'm talking about telling yourself that you're healthy, you're fit, and you're still eating all kinds of junk food, and you're obese and gaining weight. It's not a match. And by the way, let me just remind you again, the reason that I could talk about all of this stuff is because I've totally been there. I'm speaking from experience. So I know what it's like to be on the side of struggle. I also know what it's like to be on the side where it seems weird to have been in the struggle before because it's just not a big deal to live a healthy lifestyle. So you can get to that place where I am, or you can stay in the struggle. I've been in both places. But again, this is why I can talk like I do, because I have totally been there in that place with all of that horrible negative self-talk and the delusion and the denial, and where you're lying to yourself and all of that. But what changes? What changes? What kind of results do you get? Do you actually lose weight? No. So it doesn't really work to stay in that zone of delusion and denial and telling yourself stories that don't match your actions. Instead, if you want to be unstoppable and actually reach your healthiest goal weight and maintain that for life, you've got to have the combination of the foundation of the weight loss mindset, which again makes up 92.8% of winning with your weight and your eating and all of this. All right. When you combine that weight loss mindset with the healthy lifestyle behaviors, because having one without the other, you're not going to get the results that you want, and you're still going to be in struggle. It's got to be a combination of the mind and the body. All right. When you bring both of those together, then you got it. You're good. You're golden. You're going to do it. You're doing it. It's not that you're going to do it. You are doing it. You are in the moment living the healthy lifestyle, and you've got a weight loss mindset, and you're not sabotaging yourself anymore. In the meantime, what I have been talking about here in this podcast today is that the worst thing you can do when you're feeling fat and frumpy is to feed that cycle with more of the food that got you to where you are. That's the simplest way I can say it. All right, does this make sense? Because in the end, you've got to change your behaviors when it comes to what you're eating, how much you're eating, when you're eating. If you're eating when you're physically hungry, which is when you should be eating. If you're stopping when you're physically full, which is when you should be stopping eating. All right. All of these things that go into living a healthy lifestyle, when you have a weight loss mindset that supports you in that healthy lifestyle behavior, then you're unstoppable because there's no more struggle. You're not fighting against yourself anymore. When you don't have a weight loss mindset, though, I'm not saying it's going to be easy, but you've got to break this cycle of continuing to eat more of this stuff that only feeds the demon. It feeds this problem. You're eating too much food. You're eating the wrong kinds of foods. It makes you feel bad. You put yourself down. Then you go eat more to try to feel better. And then that makes you feel bad. All along, your body is gaining more weight, or it's definitely not losing weight. And it just keeps going on and on and on and on and on. All right? So when you're feeling fat, the worst thing you could do is go eat more stuff that got you into that position in the first place. Does this make sense? Maybe this sounds irritating because it just sounds so simple. I know it's not simple if you don't have the right mindset for it, but you have to start somewhere, don't you? Otherwise, think about this. A year from now, if you keep going as you are right now, you're listening to me, you're listening to my voice here on my free weight loss podcast on the JoLynn Braley Show, episode number 353. By the way, make sure that you subscribe so that you can get my new episodes as they come out. It's totally free to listen. Also, make sure that you go over to www.easyfunweightloss.com. Grab my free download. But here you are listening to me, right? A year from now, what is going to be different if you keep doing what you're doing right now? What is going to change? What are you going to weigh? How are you going to look? How are you going to feel about yourself? Where's your self-esteem going to be? How much money are you going to have in your bank account if you keep going as you are? Have you ever noticed that when you don't feel good in your own skin, it totally impacts what you do in the rest of your life? Why is that? Have you ever noticed that you take your body with you everywhere? You can't go to work in a different body, can you? And if you don't feel good in your own body, how does that impact your level of work? How does that hold you back from going for the promotion? How does that hold you back from going to the next level in your job? When you feel bad in your own skin, why would you really go for it in other areas of your life? Does this make any sense? Your body, how you feel in your body, how you show up every day, it's all connected. It impacts your sex life. It impacts your vacations. It impacts your health, your fitness. Obviously, that's really easy to see. It impacts everything. Have you ever noticed this yourself? Or did you only think that weight loss was just about weight loss? It's only about how you look in your jeans. Do you know how many coaching clients I've had over the years since I've been doing this inner self coaching, getting to the root of the problem to make weight loss struggle-free in 8 weeks or less? Do you know how many coaching clients I've had who have told me that their relationships improved the better they started feeling about themselves? And when you start feeling better about yourself, how much easier is it for you to live a healthy lifestyle? Maybe you've never experienced this before. Most people out there, what they are trying to do is to force themselves to live the healthy lifestyle when they don't have the weight loss mindset to support it. And the mindset, your mindset is 92.8% of this. But anyway, the whole point of today's podcast is when you're feeling fat, when you're feeling frumpy, when you're down, the worst thing you could do is go feed the cycle even further. Dig yourself deeper into that trench by eating more of that food that got you to where you are. You know, I know it sounds really simple, and I know that it can be almost impossible to do, to break it totally on your own, but why not give it a go? Why not try it? And I know that you could say, well, I'm not motivated. I don't have any motivation. Well, that's because of your mindset. And there's also 7.2% of this. It is about the biological portion of this whole problem, because when you're eating all that processed food, there's a lot of chemicals in that drag you down. All of that extra sugar, extra sodium, all of the preservatives, all of the taste enhancers. There's all kinds of stuff in that processed food that makes it easy to stay in that cycle. So that is 7.2% of this. And that's why you might have heard some of my podcasts talking about eating clean and how important that is, right? That's part of it. If you don't have the weight loss mindset, which is 92.8% of this whole issue, it can be very difficult to eat clean, but you can give it a go, because the worst thing you could do is when you're feeling fat is to keep feeding that whole cycle and just keep eating more of that food and telling yourself that tomorrow it'll be different. Tomorrow you'll change. How many years have you been saying that? And what results have you gotten? I did say at the beginning of today's free weight loss podcast that at the end, I would share with you your first step if you want my help to get to the bottom of this so that you can get a weight loss mindset and make it struggle-free for you to live a healthy lifestyle. If you follow my proven step-by-step system, if you do the steps, I've never had a client fail. You got to do the steps. You can't just listen to me talk about it. You can't just think about it. You've got to do the steps. The first step is to apply for a complimentary weight loss discovery session with me. And let's see about getting on the phone together to find out if it would be a good fit for me to coach you to struggle-free weight loss in 8 weeks or less. You can sign up for that complimentary weight loss discovery session by going to www.discovery-session.com, www.discovery-session.com, discovery-session.com. Enter your first name and email, and then fill out the application. Click the submit button to get that into my office so that we can help you get set up with an appointment to get on the phone with me. It's complimentary. What do you have to lose? Except maybe losing this lifelong struggle that has been stopping you from getting to your goal weight and staying there. Once again, you can start with your first step by going to www.discovery-session.com. Fill out the complete application. It's really easy. Let's get moving forward. Just imagine if you really could get to that place where it's struggle-free for you to live a healthy lifestyle, which is what you've got to do. You got to live a healthy lifestyle to get the weight off and keep it off. If you could really get to that place, what would that feel like to you? And if right now you're thinking to yourself that sounds like a dream, it sounds like impossible, it sounds like, how could that ever be? Because weight loss has always been a struggle for you. Well, it makes sense that you would think that it would be impossible because you don't have a weight loss mindset right now. And so it's really hard to comprehend. If you'd like to hear it personally from coaching clients who I have guided through my proven step-by-step system in the Inner Self Diet, I actually have a series here on the JoLynn Braley Show. And you can find it by searching for the words real results. Just search for real results in the JoLynn Braley Show, and you will find the interviews that I have done with real life coaching clients from the Inner Self Diet. Hear what they have to say in their own words about their experience of coming into the Inner Self Diet in a place of complete struggle and then coming out on the other end struggle-free. Let them tell you themselves. Like I said, just search in the JoLynn Braley Show for the words real results, and then you will find those interviews. They're totally free to listen to. At the very least, those interviews will give you hope that it's possible that you too can break free of the struggle. And like I said, if you really want to break free of the struggle and you want my help to do it, start by going over to www.discovery-session.com. Fill out an application for a complimentary weight loss discovery session with me. Now, that's only for you if you really are serious about ending the struggle once and for all. I am JoLynn Braley, permanent weight loss coach, founder of the Inner Self Diet, the diet that actually works because it goes to the root of the problem and breaks you free of the struggle that you're living with now. All of that self-sabotage where you keep telling yourself tomorrow it's going to change, but nothing is actually changing on the scale. You got to break free of that so that you can actually live a healthy lifestyle to get that weight off and keep it off. A weight loss mindset is the key. Thanks again for tuning in here today to episode number 353 of the JoLynn Braley Show. As always, I wish you your best life living inside of your ideal body. While you look your best in your jeans, never apologize for wanting to look your best. There's nothing wrong with that.